Hey everybody, it is Gordon Majak here, back with another episode of Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul, and back with part two of our Windy City, the city of Chicago. Let's go back to Chicago, just like we did there in the previous video with the Shy Lights singing that song that just kills me every time. Oh girl, just like that. Here comes another artist who originated in Chicago back in the day, and that would be these characters right here. How about Rufus and Chaka Khan, of course, coming out of the Windy City there in the 60s and 70s. Rufus and Chaka Khan get together there in the early 70s, and of course they do all kinds of damage with a string of big hits before Chaka Khan goes out on her own and pursues her solo career. Well, we fast forward here to, this is 1983, the late summer of 1983, and Rufus is going to do a little series of concerts in New York, sort of a reunion, a live reunion. And they put out an album called Stompin At The Savoy, which was Rufus and Chaka Khan live in New York at the Savoy. 3 sides of the album were recorded live, basically a greatest hits live. Pretty damn good performance too by all the great musicians in Rufus, and of course Chaka's just her usual self, singing like a just unbelievable vocals from Chaka. Live, studio, doesn't matter where, you know she's going to deliver. 3 sides of live Rufus and Chaka Khan, and then on side 4 there were a handful, I think 4 songs, brand new studio songs that Rufus and Chaka recorded in late 1982, early 1983 to stick on this album to fill out the live recording. Well, one of those songs, the big hit from this album and basically from their entire career, just a career-defining hit, the first song on side 4 of Stompin' at the Savoy, that was a brand new studio recording of a song called Ain't Nobody. Remember that? From 1983. Oh my God. I mean, what a monstrous hit for Rufus. Truly a career-defining hit for Rufus, on top of so many great songs that they had in the 70s already under their belts before they ever even got to this point. But truly one of their signature songs, and certainly one of Chaka Khan's signature songs, which again is saying something when you consider just how absurdly large and absurdly great so much of her catalog is, and how prolific she has been over the years. So Ain't Nobody comes out there as just a monster hit, and I think that just basically overshadowed just about anything else that they were ever going to do, certainly collectively at that point. And then, of course, right after that, Chaka Khan again returns to her solo career. And the next thing you know, just a year later there in 1984, she's back with her I Feel For You album, singing that Prince song, of course, which was a huge hit, and Through the Fire was on that album. And she was back to her solo career, and that was sort of the end of any Rufus reunion talks. But thank God that they did put this album out. Got 3 sides of some great live performances, but boy, to me, the real gold on this album, and I felt this way from the very first time I heard this record back there in the day, the real gold on this album was found there on side 4 with those 4 new studio recordings, because 3 of those, Ain't Nobody, and this one, the one I'm going to play for you, which is called 1 Million Kisses. And I will show you really quick here, just the, so this was the album artwork for Rufus and Chaka Khan live, Stompin' at the Savoy. And they did release 1 Million Kisses, the song I'm going to play for you. It was released as a single. That was the single artwork. But as I said, coming on the heels of such a huge hit, such a defining hit in Ain't Nobody, 1 Million Kisses as a single did not really generate any sort of action on the charts or on radio, and I think was sort of very quickly forgotten about, which is just a real tragedy to me, because when you hear this song and hear these melodic vocal lines, and then you hear Chaka's performance, and I know I say this every time, you guys already know how I feel about Chaka Khan. She's easy easy in my guaranteed top 10 all-time favorite female vocalists. Chaka's, she's glued to the floor in that room, okay? Chaka, absolutely one of my favorites, and I love her to death, and she's got so much stuff, and just not even just the songs, it's just that voice, that incredible vocal ability that she has, and I respect the hell out of her for exploring all over the musical map, and she always, no matter where she's going and what she's doing, she always sort of puts her Chaka stamp on it, and I just happen to love that. But even as saying all of that and loving her to death as I do, this is one of those performances, man. There are so many moments on this song to me that are just hair-raising. She can make the hair on the back of my neck stand up like nobody else. And this song is just chock full of those moments, and that's why I couldn't wait to play it for you, even though it wasn't nearly such a big hit. It wasn't really a hit at all. Sort of an obscure album track in hindsight, but what a legendary performance laid down by Rufus and Chaka Khan. The song written by Rufus keyboardist Kevin Murphy and Jeffrey Osborne, a co-writer on this song. Jeffrey Osborne, of all people, from LTD, and of course of his own solo career there in the 80s as well. Jeffrey Osborne, a co-writer, and as I said, I think a song that just tragically was overshadowed by Ain't Nobody. I mean, I totally get Ain't Nobody is a classic, no doubt about that, an iconic song in its own right. But man, there's some good stuff hidden here on this side 4 of this album. And I'm also going to play another one for you later, but not today. That's a separate show. Right now, we are going to get to it. 1 Million Kisses, written by Rufus's Kevin Murphy and Jeffrey Osborne, and sung like you've never heard by the great Chaka Khan. It is Rufus and Chaka Khan, a studio recording from 1983. I mean, come on. I know I said easy top 10 of my all-time favorite female vocalists. I know I said that, and I meant that. I meant that, man. But I swear to God, and you guys know from the previous video that I did way back there early in the channel with Chaka Khan for her classical, not classical, but it's sort of a jazz version of The Best Is Yet to Come. I love me some Chaka Khan, but I will tell you, man, this is just another one of those songs of hers that the hair just stands up on my neck and I get chills listening to that woman sing. I just don't even know, just hearing that. I mean, I just don't even know what to say. What an unbelievable voice that woman has, and what a talent. As I've said a million times, jazz, pop, soul, rock, she could have sang anything. And she not only makes it her own, she just makes it legendary, man. That is, I was listening to parts of that song and I was thinking, what must it have been like to be the producer for Chaka Khan, basically at any point in her career, yesterday, today, tomorrow, 25, 30, 40 years ago, it doesn't matter. What must it be like to be in the studio with Chaka Khan and be on the other side of the glass when she's recording her vocal performances? And I think there'd be moments where I just have to get up and walk out of the room. I'm not sure I could just sit there and take that, in person especially. And I've seen Chaka Khan, by the way. Yes, I have seen her perform live. My good buddy David took me to see her back in the day. I'm thinking maybe 10 years ago, to see her in a small little auditorium. And what a show, of course, she puts on. So, yeah, I'm well aware of her physical presence in person, as it were. But I just cannot even imagine to be in the studio and hear that sound of her vocals coming over the speakers, and just knowing that you are in the presence of absolute musical royalty. And such a great underrated song, I think, too. Just a song that blew me away. This is the second song on side 4 of that album, Stompin At The Savoy. So, of course, you drop the needle and you get Ain't Nobody. And here's this career-defining, huge hit song for Rufus and Chaka, Ain't Nobody. And then the second song is this one. And boy, when I heard this following up Ain't Nobody, I was just like, oh my God, these guys are just laying it down with Chaka. And of course, Rufus, packed full of extremely talented musicians themselves. All the guys in Rufus, just some of the all-time greats on the soul side, no doubt about that. So yeah, there it is, man. Stompin At The Savoy, Rufus and Chaka Khan. Chaka just throws me for a freaking loop every time, and I could have played any one of 10 or 20 songs and I would have that reaction. But this one, there is definitely something different about this one. And those vocals, man, what an absolute giant to come out of the city of Chicago. A giant in artistic and creative stature, that is for sure, in musical stature, even as she's pint-sized in real life. But boy, nothing pint-sized about all that talent and all the creativity of Chaka Khan to, as I said, explore so many musical realms in her career. And don't even think for a second, like I said in that first video, if Chaka Khan had ever decided to dedicate her career exclusively to jazz, she'd be right there on a first-name basis with the all-time great jazz singers. And don't think for one second that she wouldn't. We'd be talking about Ella and Billy and Chaka and Sarah and Dinah and etc., etc. Her name would be right in that conversation. That's how good she is. And then she just kills me on this soul stuff. Ooh, boy. Getting warm in here. Chaka Khan.